Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Raven. So I'm bringing you guys another commentary, but this time I'm not really going to talk about the gameplay, if at all. I'm really going to talk about I guess, the controversy that's been going on recently with the skill-based matchmaking issue. I'm gonna bring this to you in a way where I'm gonna, align it in like a pros and cons format. So I'm gonna start off with the pros first. And what are the positives, I guess, to have something like skill-based matchmaking in the game? Now, the biggest pro obviously is one, people who are newer to the game will stay longer, and people who are not as good as the game as let's say most YouTubers who bring you all these really good gameplays, they will stay in longer because they're going to be less frustrated. They're not going to be in lobbies where people are just going to be beasting and feasting on them, and they just they will be more likely to stay in the game. Now, the second pro in my mind is closely correlated to the first one, which I talked about, which is the producers of the game will make more money because they'll be able to sell more extensions of the game. People will buy more COD points, and just the law of averages catch up there. If you ask me, there are more people playing the game, hence there's a higher probability of more people buying all these extra stuff, which Call of Duty starts throwing at you these days. So it's a purely economical positive, I guess, and it's more towards the producers of the game than us personally. But I think that's a pretty big positive. So I brought that up. Now the third point, I haven't really heard anyone talked about. I've listened to a bunch of YouTubers over the last couple of days, and no one's really talked about this. But the third positive I think was big when it concerned even me personally. So it is that you will eventually get better. I mean, if you think about it, if you play better players, you will improve tactically because you can't, play the same way you did against people who are lesser skilled. I mean, you definitely have to react quicker because obviously people who are better react quicker, so you react quicker, and then your reactions get a lot faster. And when I noticed I guess my growth in advanced warfare, initially, I'm not gonna lie, it was very tough, because not only was the movement different, you're getting matched up against pretty skilled players, and because I've always had a decent KD. I'm not gonna say I'm an awesome, I'm someone around a 3 or 4, but I've always had something which has been closer to a 2 or a 1.5 and above. So you get matched up against those similar players, and it can be frustrating because you don't get enough gameplays to put up on YouTube, for example. But if you notice towards the end of the cycle of the game, let's say the last 3 months or so, you would see that I was churning out gameplay after gameplay because I'd gotten better. I've gotten used to playing against all these really good players, and I understood how to play the game better. And that's a personal growth which I feel that people are leaving out in their commentaries by focusing too much on the negatives. So now that I've spoken about the pros, I want to talk about one of the cons, which are actually a couple of cons, but one of the cons which people have really talked about, and I want to explain it a little bit more in depth. So I'll explain what I mean by this. Now, the biggest question which people have asked so far is, will the matchmaking screw the connection up? Now, if you think about it, let's say you live in a smaller city, all right? And in your city, let's say within a 25 to 50-mile radius, you're the only good player. So if you have matchmaking as a criteria which is near the top, I'm not even saying it has to be at the very top, but it's like near the top along with connection. It's one of the criterias. And if you don't find anyone in a similar radius to you with the same similar KD, you're obviously going to branch out. And this is, extensively perpetuated even more as people drop off the game because it gets harder to find people the same skill-based, ratios as your KD or, similar skill in the same geographical area. And, it keeps branching out. And, by virtue of it branching out, your connection starts to drop. And I'm not going to lie, 3 days or 4 days ago, I felt not only was I playing against super skilled players, I'm talking about people who are prestige master and have they're ranked up to like 100 plus. Uh, I was also having a pretty hard time with my connection. The connection, it wasn't bad, I would say, but it wasn't as strong. Now, I know they made a couple of changes, and though I do still feel that I am getting matched up against skilled players. Don't get me wrong, you're obviously going to get matched up against skilled players from one lobby to the next, but I felt like I was being matched up against pretty skilled players, like almost like every game. So, that's why I brought it up. So, I thought that obviously, that's a con for people because, if you're, let's say if you're a YouTuber and your living is based on these high KD gameplay ratios, it's obviously not going to be as easy to make these KD, high KD gameplays if you're going to play against people who are really good, because, these YouTubers honestly make their living by feasting on a lot of noobs. So, that's a natural cycle of these gameplays. I mean, you're not gonna get 10 KD or 6, 7, 8, 9 KD ratios against people who are really good. It simply doesn't happen because people who are good, are gonna play a different style. They're gonna bring something different at you, and eventually, because luck plays a large role in getting high KD gameplays, your luck will eventually run out. So, that's what I think. For me personally, I like it. It helps me up my game. But what do you guys think? Is this a placebo effect? Is it real? Let me know in a comment or let me know what you think, guys. See you in another video. Ciao.